What is up, everybody? We got Ori on the mic with us tonight, and we're going to be going over the path to playoffs for every team. We're going to kind of skip the usual week by week breakdown because we'll probably end up talking a lot about it while we're talking about the playoff chances for these teams. So, how's it going, Ori?
It's going pretty good. With us basically being in playoffs after next week, it's just a last ditch effort for some of these teams to either 100% secure a playoff spot or for some of these teams to play spoiler.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so excited.
What I was surprised by going over this stuff is how much is still up for grabs between these teams.
hmm Yeah, I think like when I was kind of just like looking at everything, I was like, okay, let's kind of like figure out like who is secure at a spot versus like who's contending for a spot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there is so much movement that can be done even amongst the teams that are already, I think like the four teams that have pretty much secured their lock in. There's still so much that can be moved where we could have like we have Team Cork and Team Tomlet sitting in first and second place for the like the regular season. They might not even be in the top two at the
Yeah,
end of this.
these two potentially could not be in, and we'll go over that in just a minute. I've got some fun slides for us to look at. Um, but just a couple things to note: Pickman's is unfortunately eliminated. Team Vlone is very close to being eliminated. They must go 2-0 this weekend, basically.
Yeah, they are the miracle run,
Mm-hmm.
basically. If
Yeah.
they can go 2-0 and a few of the
Other
other
things
people,
happen.
yeah,
Um,
it's not looking good.
and some things to note is that like Team Lioness right now is 7-5, and they are on like a I think 5 game winning streak. They haven't lost a single game in the second round robin, so they are
Nope.
looking hot right now. But yeah, I think
How-
we can get into the slides unless there's any other general stuff you want to talk about.
No, honestly, I'm just thinking, wow, Linus really did end the first round robin at 2-5,
Mm-hmm.
and they're now sitting at 7-5.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's absolutely wild. And yeah, they're secured in playoffs. When, maybe 3 weeks ago we were talking like, man, those guys are not going to make it. Who would have thought that the one team with a PR player as a captain isn't going to make it? And then here they are. Yeah, so let's get into the slides that I made for everybody here. The first and second seed, as I said, a lot is still up for grabs here, and the first seed and second seed, neither of them are secured yet. So here's the four teams in the running for it. We've got Team Cork, Team Tom, Team Slam, and Team Lioness.
For Team Quark, you've got they have a very, I wouldn't say like easy, but definitely a challenging week with Perrymaster and Tomlin.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure if I go look at the actual like schedule, Team Quark has to start their week off with Team Perrymaster. So it's in the grand scheme of things, it looks good for them to at least get an extra W to possibly secure first seed. But Team Perrymaster, if all of their members can be present, they are a huge force to be reckoned with. So Team Quark has to be weary that Perrymaster, if they're playing at 100%, if their team is at 100%, that is not a secured win.
Yeah.
And then I was gonna
Sorry.
say just uh, their next match, which is up against Team Tomlin, that's their season closer, and that's not going to be easy because I think Team Tomlet in the first round robin did beat them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I was gonna add. Is that these are actually the two teams that beat Team Quark in round robin one. So if they're going to drop games to anybody, these are the teams most likely to beat him.
hmm So yeah, I think the Quark schedule is going to be a very interesting one.
Yep.
And tied with Team Quark's, whether or not if Team Quark is successful, really affects how Team Tomlin they find their success because they're in like this a very they're all in the same triangle fighting each other. It's Team Tomlet is fighting Perrymaster and Quark. So all three of those teams, their futures and how they end up on the rankings are actively affected by how everybody in their little triangle performs against each other. And I think that is something um, that makes this last week schedule really entertaining because every single match counts for so much.
Yeah, there's a lot hanging on these matches. The other two teams, Team Slam and Team Lioness, both of them can make they can make first seed, but we'll go over it. But basically, they need to play perfect all weekend, and
Yeah.
because we were expecting Team Lioness to not be that good, they actually have an incredibly easy schedule compared to the other teams we're seeing here. Playing against Copel and Pickmans, which is the two like easiest teams that you could hope for in the grand scheme of the DCS.
Mm-hmm.
Go on to the next slide here, which will start our team breakdowns. So if Team Cork goes 2-0, no other situation matters. They get first place. So this is the top team continues to be the top team, which would be the least surprising outcome. But as we already said, they have a very hard weekend ahead of them. So this isn't as likely as you may think. And then situation 2, if Team Cork loses to Perry but they beat Tom, they will still be able to get first place because they will still have one win over Team Tom.
Mm-hmm. And I think for most people, if you were to just kind of like take a gamble, situation 2 is your most likely outcome to happen, where Team Cork probably just goes 1-1. Team Cork, as long as they secure one win, they get first seed. It doesn't matter if they lose to Perry, beat Perry, or if they lose to Tom or beat Tom.
Actually, I think if they lose to Tom and Tom goes 2-0, yes, I think that's my next situation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we could jump right into it. If Cork beats Perry, but Tom beats his two opponents, Tom actually gets first place because while they will tie with Cork in results, Tom has a 2-0 record over Cork at that point. And so they would secure first place. And our first and second seed would be determined automatically at that point.
It's a statistician's nightmare, right? When you're trying to when there are actually so many doors down every single path.
Mm-hmm. And once we get to situation 5, you'll start to see how absurd this can get. But going on to the next one, if Cork goes 0-2, if Cork goes 0-2, that opens up a lot of doors to these other teams, as you'll see. This will be like my base for the next few situations. And then if Tom goes 2-0, Lioness goes 2-0, then they would have the tiebreaker on Cork, and they would actually be second seed here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think I there's probably a slide that I'm missing that has the other side of this going on. Okay, yeah. Okay, here's the second slide. We just needed to press the next key. So if Lioness goes 1-1, Cork gets second seed, but if Lioness goes 2-0, Lioness gets second seed here. And so we get into situation 5, and this is where the exciting stuff happens. If Cork loses to Perry, and Tom loses to Slam, but Tom beats Cork, then Tom and Cork end up in a tiebreaker for first and second place. And then we get into another opportunity where Slam comes into the picture. If Cork loses to Perry, Tom loses to Slam, Tom beats Cork, but Slam beats Perry, then we have a 3-way tie for first place. But it gets even better. If Cork loses to Perry, Tom loses to Slam, Tom beats Cork, Slam beats Perry, and Lioness goes 2-0, we have a 4-way tie for first place.
And I hope that won't happen.
I really hope this doesn't happen because I'm still planning on running a bracket after this. So if this happens, the whole schedule is out the window. Everything is just cancel my whole weekend, I guess.
luckily enough, like our plans for a tiebreaker are pretty solid.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah, I haven't
Where
officially posted that yet, but I will. We're gonna do, for anyone watching, we're going to do a best of 3 where you blind pick your person going into the best of 3.
yeah, think of it is think of it that each team for whatever that potential matchup. So say it's you or in the 4-way tiebreaker, and you have Team Quark versus Team Tom. Each team will choose essentially one representative to do this best of 3 set, and you're basically being in a blind trial by fire to see if you can secure the W for your team there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be extremely hype. If any tiebreakers happen, that's going to be very cool. But a 4-way tiebreaker is a nightmare for us.
Yeah.
But thankfully, so many things have to fall into place here. I don't expect this situation 5.75 to happen.
I truly hope it does not happen, but man, odds are not zero, so there is a chance it happens.
Yeah. So going on to a slightly more likely scenario here. If Slam goes 2-0 and Cork goes 2-0, because Cork plays against Team Tom, Tom would be 1-1 guaranteed in this situation. And Lioness goes 1-1 or 0-2, Team Slam secures second place. And I need to make a couple more of these slides. I realized I was only thinking about first, and after I hit situation 5.75, my brain was on fire thinking about all of the different outcomes. So there might be a few second place scenarios that I've overlooked. And this isn't like a far-fetched outcome either. Slam has to beat Perrymaster and Tom, I think. And Cork has to go 2-0. So like, neither of those are too crazy. And Linus dropping one game isn't that hard of an outcome to come either. And then here's another tiebreaker. I think that would end up between Tom and Slam. If Slam beats Tom but loses to Perry and Tom loses to Quark. Yeah. And so then we end up with Slam and Tom tied for second place. And they have a tiebreaker there. And I think this is the last slide for first and second place that I have made so far. Like I said,
Yeah,
there might be
situation 7, yeah.
Yeah, there might be a couple more situations that I didn't think of and I'll probably come up with before DCS this weekend. But my plan is that I'll post this in the Discord and put like an exclamation point so people can, or a command so people can pop it up whenever they want. And I'm going to be live updating and deleting these situations as they no longer are an opportunity to happen. So you'll be able to track live what chances teams still have of making playoffs. And so we get into our 5th and 6th seed race.
I think as spicy as we can get for the top 4 seeds, because the top 4 at this point, I'm pretty sure are locked in that they will not be leaving.
I think the only way I think that any of those guys drop is if Perry goes 2-0 and one of them goes 0-2.
Yeah, I think that's correct. But basically, since the top 4 on paper look like they are in fact kind of like locked in,
Mm-hmm.
The race for 5 and 6, I think, is more spicy because this is where the dreams can die.
Yeah. I mean, it's always more disappointing to get cut off from playoffs than it is to like, oh, we got third. Like, yeah, first and second would be nice, but like third place isn't that bad, you know? Where here it's like maybe that one roll from ledge was all you needed to do right to get your team to playoffs, you know? That's where this stuff happens. The 3 teams in contention are Team Perry, Team Vlone, and Team Copel. And if you look at their schedules, even though Perry has the easiest way to get out of this realm, he also has the hardest schedule with Team Quark and Team Slam.
I would say, like, I mean, we talked about it when we're talking about like Quark, Slam, and like Tomlet stuff, but Perrymaster is the most likely candidate of playing spoiler in some way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very intrigued to see that if Team Perry can actually show up at 100%. I think that's how we figure out if they're actually gonna pull the miracle.
Yeah. So we'll start getting into the week or the play-by-plays here, the situations. And situation 1, Perrymaster, regardless of which team he beats, if he gets a single win over the weekend, he secures playoffs. What seed he ends up at isn't really determined yet. There's a lot of different options depending on other teams' performances, but he'll at least be 6th, if not better, if he gets one win. So looking like a pretty good path for Perry. Like we said, really tough schedule though, so we shall see.
Yeah.
He definitely needs James to wake up this Saturday. That's the number one key to victory.
Saturday, I think after last Saturday, we need Perry to wake up.
Yeah.
Perry missed the first crew battle, but he showed up for the second one.
Yep. I know. And then we have situation 2. If Copel beats Vlone, then Copel will have the tiebreaker over Vlone, and nothing else matters. They will have they've secured at least Vlone won't make it, so there's guaranteed 2 teams below them, so they will make playoffs. And that is their first game of the weekend, so they get that out of the way right away. They have the destiny is in their hands. If they win that one game, they make playoffs.
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of when you look at the season standings, it seems like 7 wins is your magic number for guaranteeing yourself in playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
7, if you in with 7, that's at least a 50% win rate minimum. At 7-7, that's 50%. So once you hit 7 or past it, you're pretty much secured. So Perry needs that 1 win to get it. Copel needs 2.
Yeah, 2 to be safe. But if they win the one against Vlone, they'll ensure that Vlone can't make it out.
Yeah,
they'll push him far enough down on the pile. And then we have another scenario here where if Copel does lose that match against Vlone, but they beat Lioness and Vlone beats Pickmans, they will end up playing a tiebreaker against Vlone.
So ready for these tiebreakers.
Yeah, so I would be very excited for this one. This would be, just imagine Vlone Flex versus Copel, in a best of 3 for the, the final spot in playoffs. I'm just excited thinking about that.
Yeah, I know those two have played countless tournament sets against each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if they had to do a tiebreaker, this could possibly be having more at stake than any of those past tournaments that they've ever played in.
Yep, for sure. And then for Vlone to make playoffs, he doesn't control his own destiny. He requires Copel. We saw the tiebreaker opportunity, which requires Copel to lose to Vlone. But to secure playoffs without a tiebreaker, Copel has to go 0-2. And that's their only opportunity to make it out of the elimination zone.
Yeah. 9 losses is a really difficult spot to end at, because 9 losses pretty much is a nail in the coffin for your playoff hopes.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's the end of my slides. So that's the full presentation. I'll look at the schedule one last time, just in case it was too hard to follow while we were jumping around to each one of the situations. So we're starting off the weekend with Slam versus Tom. Should be a super exciting one.
Yeah. I've been just looking at the schedule. I looked at it a little bit last night because I was trying to make my own playoff hopes thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I gave up about halfway through. I said this is not worth it.
You saw my beautiful path to playoffs presentation, and you were like, What can I do more? Well, KJS is just the best.
I just, you
There's
know what?
nothing that beats.
I'm gonna go delete that sheet I even made. It's not even worth
Yeah,
having.
how did he find a picture that has the 3 characters Vlone picks in bracket and all of them are yellow? What kind of guy did this?
Did you take a picture of your 3DS?
No, this wasn't me. I just googled yellow Game and Watch and somehow found this.
That's funny. Does Vlone actually play Doc and Mewtwo?
He plays them in bracket, but he doesn't win with them in bracket.
Okay.
So then we have the Social Distance Demons rematch, Perrymaster versus Quark, happening at the same time on Pinoy Night stream. Yet another, like I said, Perrymaster was one of the teams to beat them before, see if they can keep the streak up and keep the playoffs spicy.
Yeah. I remember when we were making the second half of the round robin schedule, because we kind of waited till the first half was roughly done so we could have a better idea of how we wanted to. I just remember you saying we need to focus where on the last week we get Team Quark versus Team Tom and Team Tom versus Team Slam.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, I was very
one more team.
I was very Machiavellian about it. Yeah, and I also wanted Quark versus Perrymaster on the last day because again, that's the Social Distance Demons classic, so that's always hype. Even if Perrymaster was guaranteed eliminated from playoffs, it would still be hype just because those are the 2 teams playing against each other.
Yeah, the reverse engineering the schedule from that point was just once I was able to get like the perfect lock in,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, all right,
this is the stuff.
Week 7 is going to be a chef's kiss.
Yeah, and everything ended up working. Like, the only thing that didn't end up, like, super tense of all of these teams is Team Lioness because of their unexpected rise to the top.
Yeah.
But every other team is playing against other teams that are very meaningful matches, tied up together. But back into this, Team Lioness versus Copel. Like I said, Linus looking so strong. Copel's going to have a lot on his hands trying to win this one. Team Vloneflex versus Team Pickmans. Pickmans this weekend can only really play spoiler. It looks like his guys are still enthused to play the game, which is nice. Unlike Team Vlone, I don't know if you've seen, but everybody has quit Team Vlone except for Saturn.
Wait, really?
Yeah. All of his other players said they don't want to play anymore. 2 of them quit last weekend. And then...
hold on. On Team Vlone?
Yeah, Team Vlone. Right now, Team Vloneflex is just this guy Saturn. Just this one dude. Saturn in the subs.
Oh my god, that's so hilarious.
But I've already...
It's hilarious to me, just from like somebody who's been watching the series the entire time. Mm-hmm. But man, that sucks for Vlone.
Definitely.
Because Vlone is such a homie where it's like, dude, his team that he picked out just basically abandoned him.
Just dipped on
outside of Saturn.
Anyway, I've been talking to a couple of people and it looks like we're going to get Butters lined up for them. Captain E will probably be filling in. And this kid, I assume his name is pronounced Gap. But he signed up for SDD this weekend and he beat Reg and Kovu in bracket, and I was like, who the heck is this guy?
What?
Yeah. And then he asked if he could play in the draft cruise, and I was like, you know what? I actually have an opening.
Dude, where is this most recent Social Distance Demons?
I mean,
look at this bracket.
Yeah, I didn't put him on stream because, I thought he was just gonna get eliminated or whatever. And then I was like, okay, like, he beat Kovu, but sometimes Kovu just randomly drops to people or he gets tilted and throws or something.
And this was the Toys for Tot ones, right?
Yeah, this was the Toys for Tots one. Then we get Team Tom versus Team Quark, the big guns. This probably should have been our 4:00, but it's fine. I'm not salty about it. It's fine. Whatever. We're gonna have the lower seed teams play at the end. It's cool.
Yeah,
you can only mastermind the schedule so hard. I understand.
I just was trying to make it where nobody was playing multiple, like 2 crew battles.
Yeah, 2 crew.
On the last day.
Yep. So yeah, we get Team Tom versus Team Cork, the big one. Probably going to decide who gets our first seed, or if we're going to see tiebreakers on that side of the bracket, or that side of the table. And then Team Slam and Team Perry, another huge match here for seeding implications. We go into our 4 o'clock period. Team Vlone versus Copel, and like I said, this is a must win for Vlone. Even if he beats Pickmans, he can't make it into playoffs without beating Copel. So yeah, this is his fate match. And the last one of the day, Pickmans and Lioness. Maybe Pickmans will get an upset and prevent Lioness from making it to the top.
Every match, I mean, you and I have been watching it. It's like every single set recently that Team Pickmans has been in for the past like 2 weeks are heartbreaking sets where they were so close.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Something unfortunate happened. Like Team Pickmans almost beat Team Perry Master.
Mm-hmm.
They lost 14-15. They were off by 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, then... Team Pickmans is the living embodiment of a crew that is 0-2, but it was close though.
Yeah, they are the perfect example.
Yeah, because
they did lose the slam, but they got just absolutely demolished by Augie and his Belmont.
Yeah, that he cheated. They cheated by Slam turning off his internet for the weekend.
Yeah.
We were joking in Linus's team chat, like, Linus is probably asking his parents for things to do on Saturday between 1 and 5 since it worked out so well for him the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, really.
I don't have anything else to talk about. You got anything, Ori?
No, not schedule-wise. I truly hope that everybody makes an effort to actually show up for this last week, because this has been a very extensive, 8-week project that you and I have been working on.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of hours go into this, and like nobody asked us to do this, and it's been something that like I kind of wanted to do just because it seemed like a fun way for me to do something that was solely for the Michigan scene.
To be honest,
during foreign times.
Yeah, to be honest, excluding like matches where I'm watching my homies like win on stream or something, this is probably the coolest Smash thing that I've been a part of. Like, aside from, like watching Super Majors and stuff is cool, but like as far as like Michigan Smash and not just rooting for my friends, this is probably the coolest thing that I've experienced so far.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy that I did it.
It's so like when you make like little like things like this, it's just this nice inherent value that comes out of it that makes it so fun from an organizer standpoint, because it's something that you get to like test yourself against. Be like, all right, this is a challenge. I want to see if I can do this.
Yeah.
Like even in my 12 years of TOing, this was a huge undertaking for me to do, just because having to put on like a schedule, try and come up with like a format that works.
Mm-hmm. Trying to wrangle teams every weekend.
Oh yeah, God! I remember when we were like doing the like team signups. We're just like, man, I really hope we can just get 40 people to show up so we can at least have 8 teams of like 4 with some people who could be subs.
Yeah. I'm glad the people signed up, and a lot of them haven't dropped off besides like the guys that dropped from Team Vlone. Like I know some stuff has been kind of rough, and like we probably would change the format in the future a little bit to make like getting subs easier, probably just by having people drafted onto teams if we had like a bigger pool or something. But I'm just glad everybody stayed along, because you guys really were part of like the experiment, Nobody's ever done this before. We didn't have anything to model it after. We're just every week finding issues and trying to figure them out. Like at the end of every stream, me and Ori in our private chat would be like, okay, here's the damage report. What do you think we could do to fix this next weekend so it doesn't happen?
The first 3 weeks was just like, all right, we learned this.
Yeah, we learned this. We learned this. What do we do to stop this from happening last time? And then, some of this stuff, just because of the way we have it set up now, is unavoidable. Like, we only have 40 people. If all 5 of your guys don't show up, then, like, we have to scramble to find somebody.
Or you just take the L.
Yeah. I will say, during the playoffs, I'm going to be a lot more strict about who subs in for teams. Because I think it will be, like, a real spoiler if somebody like Augie wins it for Team Slam when he didn't participate in the DCS. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I think if your team doesn't show up on the last week, you get Hausa. You get, like, Hausa or somebody Hausa equivalent. I don't care who's missing from your team. That's on you guys to make sure your teammates show up for the playoffs.
We'll have to finalize the format for the playoffs to see if it's something we would like to just get it done. We'll have to poll the players as well and just think, how would you guys like to do it? Where would you like it to be where it's one day? Is it like a 1 day a thing, or would you guys like it to be like Saturday and Sunday, where Sunday is for the first place match and the third place match? Because it's going to be a little important that we figure out who actually is like first place, second place, third place, and fourth place, because there could be some prize pool, maybe, who knows.
Yeah, maybe the schedule, I think, will, at least the one that I've been tossing around in my head, is canceling social distance demons that day and then doing like 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. or however long it takes, where if like we want a gap between like 5 and 6, we can do that so people can get dinner or whatever for the top 2 teams. Because I think that'll probably, because we'll keep it on the same day as the usual DCS, and then we push it back a couple hours since people apparently can't wake up at 1 p.m. I think that's the most likely one, but yeah, I think we'll send out a poll and we'll ask people, see what they think.
Yeah, personally, I'm leaning towards 1 day. I can definitely, if we can confirm like Pinoy is there for like the secondary stream, this is definitely something that can be done in 1 day and probably within the same time frame as
the regular,
normal one.
Yeah. It should only, because there should only be 3 rounds.
Yeah, so it would be round 1, round 2, the finals, and then the loser in the the
so we could do
match.
third place match and then finals. So it would be 4, which is what we do in regular.
It's 6 total crew battles that have to take place, because this is just going to be like a single elimination bracket for the most part, with a tiebreaker for third place. And I'm not really fond of the idea of doing best of X crew battles.
I don't want to do that
sounds
either.
Like hell.
Yeah.
And you guys are already so slow at doing it. Smashers are already too slow at doing some things, and I can't imagine having to do 6 best of 3 crew battles. That sounds like I would rather go jump into the lake that's freezing down the street from me.
But yeah, with that, I hope you guys all tune in this weekend. Check out all the games. It's going to be super hype. Every match means something. We don't have a single meaningless match happening this weekend. Everything is for something here. So it is going to be a nutso time. Anything to say to the people on your way out, Ori?
Nope. See you guys Saturday at 1 p.m. sharp. Team captains, you better have your crew wrangled up by 12:45.
Oh yeah, Perrymaster at 1 p.m. They're losing that. Never mind. The playoffs are decided. Corks first.
Delete your Minecraft servers.
Oh yeah, I got to do the YouTube sign off. I'm gonna kick you out of the call so you don't make any noise for this part, because I'm a super professional.
Got it. All right, guys. Thank you for having me. I'm glad I finally was able to make one of these.
Hey, if you liked the video, go ahead and leave a comment, like, or subscribe to the YouTube channel. I hope you found this interesting, and I hope you all have a good night.